Good evening, folks. Hang on, just realised my video is frozen. Let's put that right. There we go. Sorry about that. OBS decided to be an absolute pain in the proverbial. Taking a crash while initialising the embedded Chrome framework, and it said there's an outbreak. Excellent. It was moaning about resource exhaustion, so I closed down absolutely everything else on the system. Still didn't work. Rebooted, still didn't work. Unplugged all the hardware in case that was it. Nothing. Fired up Safari to Google the error message, found a thread of other people saying they were having the same problem, and then suddenly it started working again, just as I was about to give up and reinstall an old version. Who knows? Software. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining me. Chloe and RHK I see in the chat already. Anybody else out there? We are back on the RC2014 Pro Pride. Is it? I can never remember if it's Pro Pride or Pride Pro. Pro Pride, yes. Hi, Sleepy as well. How are you all doing? Anyway, this is as far as we got last time. Let's switch cameras with the backplane and all its shiny colours. And I said at the time that I did not have a suitable power supply for it on hand. Well, I was wrong, and I've dropped something on the floor already, so it's off to a great start. I'd forgotten it comes with a USB to barrel jack cable, so I can blind you all with the power LED, which I think I might have to upgrade the resistor on. Oh, I've done a silly... I unplugged the other USB hub despite knowing I was going to need it. Okay, bear with me. So we can, in theory, flick this switch and it do not look directly at the light. That's because that's incredibly bright. But the power light comes on, so that's a good start. Sleepy, yes. There were also changes to how... No, sorry, I was thinking of VAT rules, I think. But yes, it could be quite expensive to export at the moment, especially given the situation with all that nonsense. Oh, okay, I didn't realise it was on Tindy. Yeah, z80kits.co.uk is the sort of home, I believe, of RC2014. RC2014.co.uk is the project's own website. I had a nice comment from Spencer, the man behind the project, on Fedi after last week's stream. He said he might try and join us this evening, so if he's watching, hello. But I took the opportunity to ask whether I completely hallucinated the thing with the sweets. And apparently, yes, I did. I could swear blind that I had seen several people building a similar kit, or a kit, which had multiple modules and was something to do with an ancient computer, retro computing, modern retro, you know what I mean. And I could swear blind I'd seen several people comment in their blog posts about building some particular kit or other that there was a bag of sweets, and one in particular chap scoffed the whole lot before he started and then realised afterwards he was supposed to have one after he'd done every module. Of course, this was now about 3-4 years ago, and it was probably something I saw linked on Twitter, so no chance whatsoever of finding it again. But Spencer assures me that he has never sent out sweets with any of his kits. He just uses the striped bags for assorted components and never anything edible. So my mistake. So my disappointment at not having sweets was definitely not his fault. It was just my own stupid fault. So on with the show. Let's get this one out of the way for now. Yes, Adrian and his Haribo. I discovered in town the other week that the pound shop has a different selection of Haribo to the supermarket. So now I'm working my way along those shelves. This is potentially dangerous. Hiya Carrot House, how are you doing? So, what are we going to work on today? We want to get the CPU module built first, I think. So let's extract the packet of PCBs from wherever it is hiding. There. And we are going to need the packet of chips and the sockets. And the headers. Probably the passives and the assorted components, I imagine. Which is nearly the entire box, so I should have just tipped it up on the desk, on the table, but never mind. So what I want to do actually is do what I meant to do while everything was getting set up and bring up the website. One moment, so I need to do that one and that one. Pick the right Safari window, there we go. So let's find the instructions. We want the CPU module. Aside from the colour of the PCB, this is exactly the same as the regular Z80 CPU module. So, what do we need for that? PCB, socket, CPU, header, and some passives. So let's deal with the... We don't need that bag. We shall deal with the passives first. Let's turn that off so you can see. Yes, another tab. Yes, they don't. They have a nasty habit of multiplying, but it wasn't the tab's fault that the OBS was being nonsense this time. Apparently, that was just something being nonsense. X5 104. Yes, that's what we want. And we want some those were 2.2k, we want 1k, don't we? 10k by 4. So should be 103, should be brown, black. Oh god, brown, black. Oh, don't care, I can't tell anyway. Probably that one. Brown, black, orange. We should use the foolproof approach. That's 1k, so that's not it. Those are 1k as well, but they're fatter 1ks. And there are only 3 of those, so that can't be the right answer. Aha! Only 3 of those, so it can't be them. Can't be them. Can't be them, can't be them. Must, by process of elimination, be these. Brown, maybe black. Yeah, brown, black, orange, that sounds right. Yes, right. Success. So, 1 second, while I make an absolute hash of that, I was just going to say the plan this evening is to get 2 boards done, I think. 40 pin right angle header. Oh, is that single or dual? Single, I think. Well, let's get the PCB out, then we can check. But no, the plan this evening is to get 2 boards done, the CPU and one of the supporting boards, which will probably be, well, we've got a choice of the clock board, the RAM board, the ROM board, or the serial board, I suppose. So we'll take a look and see if I can open the bloody envelope first. That will help. We'll see how the mood takes us when we get there. Right, there we go. So what we have here, that is the serial board. It has an SIO on it. That's the clock board. That one would smell like a, yep, it says Z80 on it, so that's what we want. And that's the RAM board, and that is the ROM board. Excellent. So let me just catch up on chat quickly since I see a few people turning up. When you test them, why not write the strip the value? Yes, probably. Do I have a pen handy? We'll get to that later. And hello to RF and to us all Dead Insects as well. Hope you're both doing well this evening. So, what do we have here in terms of... Right way up would help. Pin 1, so I'm trying to work out whether it needs the single there or the I'm going to guess it just needs the single right. One of these. Single row. Right angled header. Like so. And then there's an extra row here, which I believe is for sort of extra pins, expansion pins. Let's see if there are construction notes we can read. I shall bring up Safari again. And what we want is other modules, troubleshooting, assembly guides, there we go. That's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. Jumper settings. Okay. 6 modules, you can get 5. The single rows use the compact flash module. Okay, so we do need to fit the entire. I mean, it would make sense for. Ah, there we go. Yes, we do want a double row header for this board. So, with that question answered, we're going to need a 40-pin socket as well. Bend the pin already, excellent. And now I'm self-conscious about how many times I say the word excellent, but such is life. So what's the deal here? 4 resistors. Yep, okay. So let's start with the capacitor, since it's going to be the shortest thing on the board. And turning the soldering iron will help. That tea tastes funny. Not ideal. Just, there we go. So capacitor goes in the hole. Actually, before I do that, there is an important step, which is described. You'll notice that there are 2 rows of pins at this end and 1 row of pins at that end, but it's a double row header. And you can't just use mix and match single and double row headers because they're not really the same shape. So the trick is apparently to yoink out all the pins you don't need. So let's have a look. Start with the double row header on the module PCB backwards so the short pins all go through the holes. Come on. Come on, are you slightly wonky? Why are you being slightly wonky? Oh, I see. Right, thus. Then start to remove the long pins beginning at the right hand edge. So how many do we need to remove? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 of them. Yep. Okay. These pliers are not ideal for this. Do I have anything a bit more needle nosy? I don't think I do. 3, 4, 5, 6.
Cobb 2015 cheered with 100 bits. Excellent.
Right. Whoops. Thank you for that, Cobb. 100 bits, most appreciated. I'm sorry, folks, I forgot the browser was still covering what you were looking at. I never claimed to be bright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16. So that should give us the right header. There we go, splendid. There's one overlap on the end, which I think we need to break off, but we'll do that later. Okay, that's a neat trick. I shall have to remember that. Come on. There we go. Oh God, beg pardon. Right. Anyway, I'm sorry. Hello, Cobb. How are you doing anyway? And I shall just catch on chat, see if there's anything exciting going on. The other week, Majenko's bot insulted me 3 times when I wasn't even there. Well, the bot can bite me. I'm not too bad, thanks, Cobb. It's been a busy couple of days doing the decorating, so it's nice to sit down and do something that doesn't involve old clothes and paint and being in a room that is catching the sun at exactly the wrong time, so it turns into an absolute oven. But anyway, I think I need to change for next stream. Change soldering iron tips. Find a nice conical. This is not working as well as one would like. There we go. Most of the way, yeah. Well, sort of. I'm still only on room 1 of 3, but one of those can wait. One of them isn't. Well, the first one was urgent on the grounds that, well, urgent. It had big holes in the wall where I'd run fibre, so I needed to reinstate the plasterboard first. And then I needed to hide that. You know, I made the strategic error of forgetting that I would probably need 2 coats, so I've got just enough paint to do 1 coat, so I have to go back and buy another pot tomorrow, I think, and put a second on so it looks a bit better. I mean, it looks okay, but it turns out I had made a minor mistake. As my father pointed out when I spoke to him this evening. Be quiet. I assumed one painted all the walls, because this is what I've done in the past, painted the walls and then gone back to do the cutting in afterwards. Apparently not. That's not the best plan. So we'll see how it turns out tomorrow, I suppose. Well, not the bot, but a similarly annoying piece of computer that thinks it needs to make noise, let's put it that way. I am sorely tempted to put one of these resistors in backwards just to mess with people, but no, we'll line them all up the same direction. Speaking of loud noises, I do apologise. It was brought to my attention that the Moo machine last week was being rather louder than was polite, so sorry about that. The mic was obviously too close to it on Friday. I mean, I should have to remember for next time we do any desoldering to try and put the mic on the other side of the table. But you'll be relieved to know there is not much desoldering that I can think of in the near future. So let's have a look. I also intended to set up the SLR on the tripod here, so you could get a better view of what's going on. And it turns out that actually I was mistaken when I said that the Canon, the EOS webcam utility, doesn't support the 50D I was using, because the 50D I have a battery eliminator for. I tried it out over the weekend, and in fact it does work, which is interesting. And it gives a better output than doing HDMI capture, so that's great. Means I don't need to run Magic Lantern to get a clean feed. So that was brilliant, except I can't find the tripod quick release plate. It's gone walkabout, so I shall find it for next time. Right, let's have a quick look at the chat again. We are discussing the merits of the sun, are we? Okay. Hobbs after an ST, you see. I would like an ST myself, but it's a bit on the... I mean, I could probably find room for it, but I don't want to spend the sort of money they go for these days. I don't want it that much. But I will say that it may be related to future project ideas I have had for the RC2014, let's put it that way. And we shall get to those once we've got the machine running as it's supposed to run, which will be a few weeks off. Here we go. So no, I'm not going to bend the pins on the socket, apart from the one that I bent when I was pulling it out of the cardboard. We'll leave them as straight as possible. Maybe not in keeping with the ethos of this particular design, but that one and that one. Take that down. Is it flat? Nice and flat. Yes, good. And just sit down here. Why is that being... Great. Okay. Is that any better? No. Okay, I think what was going on there was that I had accidentally loosened the collar on the iron a few days ago, and so the bit wasn't oriented with the flat where I expect it to be. So now it is tugging against the cable slightly. Oh well, I'll put that right at some point. Not while it's hot though, because I'm not a complete muppet. There are several bits missing. Right. It occurs to me that I am not saying very much while I'm doing the soldering. Let me know if you would like me to put the music track on in the background. But we're almost there with this board. I just need to take this off. Like so. Just double check something. Okay, good. I had a sudden nasty feeling I might have been the board might have been intended to be assembled backwards with the component sitting on this side with the logo silkscreen and the RefDes silkscreen on the back, but no, looking at the pictures on the website, that's not the case, thankfully. Otherwise I would have made a right mess of that. Okay, so that's the two ends of that. Let's check it's nicely aligned. It's looking good. Yes, I wouldn't disagree with you on that one, Chloe. But like Statler and Waldorf, you keep coming back at least. So I'm not complaining. You heckle all you like. I might be running the iron a little hot. Oh well, I'll tweak that down for the next board. Ugh. I may have to get the the light on a stand out in a second. That one's missing a... Not the neatest job I've ever done. Yes, too little solder on a couple of these, so let's just touch those up 1 second. That's more like it. And then the long row. Bit of tea first. Am I ever going to live down the missing pie dish? Hang on. Ramdog Cap, hi, good to see you. Yes, limited edition run. I can't remember how many were made. I think there were 10 released every week during June 2013 or something.
RHK77 cheered with 100 bits. Hydrate D.
Well, thank you for that, RHK77. Much appreciated. Hydration is taken care of with the glass of water on this side. But the cup of tea is rapidly going cold, so... Website says 40. Yeah, sounds about right. 1 second. We got auto-modded there for the phrase buggered off, I think. Apparently buggered off is sex related. Obviously Twitch has much better sex than I do. Right, okay. we shall zip down this row and that'll be module 1 done. What's going on over there? I don't think I want to know who's insulting hedgehogs. Oh, by the way, how was the levels on the text-to-speech there with that shear? I fiddled around with them a bit, but the chimes are still a bit too loud, I think, so hence the whole lot comes down a bit. I shall fiddle with it further if needed. Almost there. And there we go. Ow, that was still hot. A golden Kappa train, blimey. Okay, Solver Project. No, I'm not. I know the broad strokes of various Pratchett bits and pieces, but I've never read the whole lot, unfortunately. I should do that sometime. I believe it's definitely worthwhile. Good question, Cobb. I didn't hear it either. Yeah, it must have been profanity filter on the TTS, I'm afraid.
RHK77 cheered with 100 bits. I want this golden cap emote, although I don't know what it actually is.
Well, yes, this is how these things work, RHK. It is golden, therefore you want it. But what it is, nobody knows. So we want to release the chips from their anti-static prison. Like so. And one of these will be a Z80. Which is presumably that second one there. Z80 CPU, yes. needs a slight tweak on the pins. There we go. That is module 1 complete. And it needs to go in the back plane somewhere. Let me just have a quick look at chat. Small dead insects. 2/3 your knowledge of British culture is practiced, and the other third Monty Python. Well, it's not a bad combination, to be fair. There are far worse things to pay attention to, let's put it that way. So what we want to do is figure out which slot this is supposed to go in. Let's see if we can tell. Shall bring up Safari again so you can see what I'm looking at. Is there a list somewhere of which order? There we go. Back plane. No. I mean, I suppose it doesn't really matter, but we wanted to go in one of the blue slots. Oh, there we go. There's the answer. It goes in one of the blue slots, and there's only one blue slot that has the extended. This blue slot is only a single row. This one has the double row at the bottom, so it must go in that one. Hooray! First module in. I see there are 3 pins hanging out the bottom of the socket here. Yeah, socket ends there, and then there are 3 more pins. Wonder why that is. We shall perhaps look at the schematic at some point and find out if those are important, but for now, let's move on to a second module. Can I play Doom with it? Well, not yet. Whether we can later, I don't know, but so far it has a CPU and no supporting circuitry at all. So, we get to decide which supporting circuitry to do. Goal mat, okay. I wasn't aware I had a goal, but apparently we've met it. So, we have a choice now of serial board, RAM board, ROM board, or the clock board. According to this list, the board I've just built was purple, not blue. Well, anyway. Let's build the clocks first. I think clocks are going to be useful because then we can see if the CPU is actually free running or not. So this has rather more on it. What time is it? It is 20 past 10. Yes, we should be able to knock that one out this evening. So we want CPU board, clock board. And the words say, if I can find them, the white square right angle tact switch, the 2x10 red pin headers, 2 red jumpers, and the 8-pin sill socket, which is otherwise the same as the dual clock module. Okay. So let's get those parts out first. Chat's goal was to frustrate me. I don't know if you've seen that yet. You probably don't want to be honest, Cobb, but I don't want to encourage you. That would be right. a white right-angled tact switch. It's probably that one. No, that's not right-angled. Duh. Hmm. Well, this is odd. Once again, we don't need the VGA connector. I know that much. We don't need anything that's yellow, so those can all go away. And that wasn't yellow, but it can go away anyway. Ditto blue. Aha, there we go. The 2x10 red pin headers, plural. Okay, good. So it is both of those. The 8-pin cell socket, yes. 2 red jumpers. Possibly. What colour are those? Come on, focus. Ah, Majenko. How are you doing? Those are red, are they? Good, thank you. Don't know why there was a capacitor in that bag, but apparently there was. There's a bunch of... Yep, okay. Oh no, that's... Ah. Something has made a beeline for my trousers. One moment. There it is. So I think that's all the hardware from that bag we need. Right tact switch. Yep, good. Otherwise the same as the dual clock module. So let's find the BOM for that. Fast clock. Okay, this is all fascinating, but where's the BOM? There it is. Clock PCB, yes. 40 pin right angle header. Again, it needs to be a dual row one, I think. And we're probably going to have to pull a lot of pins out of that. Is that right? Yes, it is. It is a double row header. Okay. So we get to pull all the bits out of that again. Single speed or multi-speed? I don't know. Which do we want to build? What's the major differences? Lots more sockets. Thank you for the follow, Remdog Cap. Much appreciated. I'll just have a quick look at chat. Yeah, the multi-speed does sound more fun. What do you get if you run it in multi-speed? Clock 1 header collects a regular clock pin on the back plane, draws CPU and serial module. Speed is set by a jumper. Clock 2 collects the clock 2 pin in the extended header. If only a 7... Yes, let's build it multi-speed, it'll be more fun. So 5 14-pin sockets. I have plenty of these in stock, so if it turns out we don't have enough of these to do this, then no matter. Crystal, ceramic cap, 22p, 100N. Oh, okay. We're going to have to look through a lot of passives. Okay, let's pull out some sockets first. One. Come on. Right. Right. So then 22 picofarad cap. So where's the passives bag? There we go. Let's turn that off. Like so. Okay, crystal, that was in here somewhere. So I remember seeing it. And I'll come back for that. 22 picofarad ceramic cap. So it'll be probably these two here, because there are only two of them. $22J, yes. And 4 of the 100 nanofarad ones, which are up here. So I'll need that strip. Now, there's the crystal. 1 meg resistor times 1. Okay, I think you might win. I'm going to have to find a pen, aren't I? But 1 second. This one's on its own, so it might be the 1 meg. Yep. A 1K, a 10K and a 2K2. So 2K2 we took some off last time, so those are the 10K. Because we've just used some of them. Yep. So a pen. Need a macro cam. Yes, I was saying earlier, Machenko, do. It's sort of ready to go, except I couldn't find the quick release plate for the tripod, which is a pain. So that one was 1M. So these are the two K2s, because there are 2 missing, and they're on the backplane board. Yep. 2K2. Oh, let's just do the whole lot, work them up. Those are 47. One for the Star Trek fans there. These are open circuit apparently. You know what would help would be if I checked 2 ends of the same part, not 2 different parts on the bandolier. That might help. $3K9? Is $3K9 a standard number? Or is it just, whatever. The preferred value, that's the word I was looking for. The 510. $1K, which we need. And we potentially need, there might be different tolerances at play here. 3K2. Thanks for the confirmation there, RHK. I can never keep track of. I know some of them, but not all of them. 8K2. Yep. $2K. Well done, Majenko. That's very impressive. $22K. Okay, I think that's all of them, apart from something that fell on the floor a moment ago. And will never be seen again. There it is. Of course, it's one of those piddly diodes. There we go. Oh, and there's a leftover strip of something here. What's this? 1K. Okay, so we have a choice here of 2 different types of 1K resistor. Let's consult the list and see what it says. Okay, so the blue one's a metal. One 1 second, we'll go back to the list. Presumably we don't need the metal film ones for this. It would say if we needed the metal film ones, so we have 2K2, 1K, 10K, 1M, yep, 100 nanofarad, 22 picofarad, 47 microfarad electrolytic, 25 volts. Ooh, shiny gold one. $47.25 and 22 microfarad at 25 apparently. Yep, good. And a 1N4148. Right, that'll be the shock key, won't it? The 5817, because it's the only one like this. 5817, yes. So it'll be one of these. And then all that we've already dealt with. Great. Okie doke. So now that we've got the chore of labelling all of those out of the way, thank you for chat for bullying me into that one. We now have the chore of pulling all the pins out of this. So, come on, focus. What? So stop being all skew-whiff. Yeah. We'll cut the spare one off the end first, I think, this time. And that goes in there. Well, let's count how many we need to trim off first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 from that end. $16 from that end. 16 and 13, Chad. If you could remember that, I would be most appreciative. Where did I put the thingy with the thing? So it would be 13 from this end. And yes, because it's reversed. So 1, 7, 13, and then 16 from this end. Thanks. $14, 15, 16. There we go. Excellent, I didn't cock that up. That's what we like. So we shall start with, as usual, the 100 nanofarad caps, I suppose. So Remdog, the original RC2014 just had one row of pins, so it was a single inline socket on the backplane board, and then that included the basic signals it needed, but as the system grew, the backplane expanded to sprout a second row, and because single and double row headers apparently don't line up properly if you try and mix them on the same in the same line, you take a dual row one, you pull out the pins you don't need. 1 second. How is it different from the S100 bus? Has dramatically fewer pins for a start. This one is 39 plus 1, 2. So this is a 49 pin bus versus I think it's 100 on the S100. And it's really, I think, the most basic bus you can imagine for a Z80 system. It's you bring the pins off the Z80 and that's what you get basically. Whereas I think S100 was a bit more complicated, but don't hold me to it. I've never actually used an S100 machine. It was 4 of these, wasn't it? So let's have a quick look. 4 of those, yep. So they're going to go there, ow. They're going to go into my thumb, there, and there. Okay, don't know what that one is. I was going to turn the iron temperature down, wasn't I, for this board? So what? Did I turn the soldering iron off after I built the CPU board? I don't remember doing so, but it was off on the power strip. Very strange. Unless the pen I knocked over or knocked out of the pot bounced off the power strip and happened to turn it off. Okay, right. You're up to temperature again. No, how are we doing for time? 20 to 11. Okay. No, the beep was the auto shut off of the multimeter. My iron is not that fancy. It doesn't even have set back when you stick it back in the thing. Not that it really matters, but it is. There have been a couple of occasions I've come downstairs in the morning and realised I left it on overnight, which is never a good thing. There we go. 1, 2. There you go. Yeah, that was the meter again. It's the Hakko FX888, the original model with the twiddly knob on the front. Because I thought that the digital one they released looked absolutely awful, but I see they have since released a new digital one that is slightly less horrible and has a rotary encoder on the front, so much nicer. No, definitely the original. I bought it from Hacker's authorised distributor over here. It was a Christmas present in 2012 from my parents. They asked what I wanted, and I said, "Oh, I've been lining up this soldering iron, but it's a bit expensive for me to take the plunge on." Sort of, I've been looking for an excuse, so they paid for it basically and got me to order it because they took one look at DanCap's website, who were the authorised distributor at the time, and it was basically fill in this form and send us a cheque. No. Well, it might have been send us a cheque or electronic fund transfer, but there was no online cart or anything. So they just gave me the money and I bought it for myself. It's a very nice piece of kit, really. It made life much nicer than struggling on with the little thing I'd had before, which was just a standard, is it Zongdi? Not really, I think it was 20 watt or something, but not really particularly well. No, it was variable power, it wasn't temperature regulated. Just one of the things you get at the time got in Maplin for 20 quid. So this was a considerable step up. It just sadly wasn't quite the bargain here that it was in the rest of the world. There was a hefty markup from the local distributor, but it works nicely. I'm very pleased with it. Yes, that makes sense, Remdog. It is a separate ceramic heater, and it does take a couple of about 10 seconds or so to warm up. It's just for the sort of pattern of things I tend to assemble with it. A lot of it was wiring pencil stuff, so you spend several minutes wiring on the board, wrapping your wire around the various pins, and then pick the iron up. So it would have had plenty of time to warm up. But anyway. Oh, Antex fire sticks. Yes, that's always good fun. So we want these two 22 picofarad ones, I think. And they live either side of the crystal, makes sense. And we'll do one pin on each and make sure they're nice and square. If I could actually get the iron onto the pad, it would help. There we go. No, what on earth? There we go. Straighten that one up a bit. Oh, quite considerably, in fact. mess of that. What's going on in the chat here? The pine sill sounds interesting. I must look at it at some point as a sort of chuck in the go bag sort of thing. What do we want to add now? Resistors. Let's try and get on with this so we don't run out of time this evening, because people are going to start buggering off to bed soon, I'm sure. 1 megohm. Where's that hiding? There. Okay, it's the feedback resistor for the for the crystal. Fair enough. And 10k, where are they hiding? There's 1k, there's 10k. We're on to beer now, okay. Oh dear. I mean, I understand the potential danger of lighting a match when Cobb is around, but on the other hand, it might burn some of it off, so who's to say if it's good or bad? And 1k in there. Yep. Oh, did a splendid job on that 10k resistor, as it sits an entire resistor's width off the board. Ugh. The other issue here is that I'm not bending these legs tight enough. I shall try and remember that for future reference. Yeah. So we want to tug on that one. One moment, let me figure out how we're going to fix that mistake. There we go, that's done it. Speaking of fizzy drinks there, Chloe, remind me, what was the new one you were trying the other day? Was it raspberry something or other? And 2K2. 1, 2, 3. How many of these do I need? 3. Okay, good. An automatic soda stream. Fancy. Okay, making progress slowly but surely here. I think that's... No, it's not quite all the passives done. We've... still got... where's that gone? There was a 1N4148 to do, wasn't there? No, there wasn't. There was a 1N... Yes, 4148. Has it rolled off my... Well, that's okay. We've got more of them, so we'll find another one and then I'll find the one that's gone missing later. There we go. indeed on. Let's just double check I'm going to fit this the right way around, because I can never quite see the markings on these. Yep. Please concentrate with jam and see what happens. I think jam is the operative word there, isn't it? Unless you're going full big Clive and carbonating anything and everything you can get your hands on. Oh, come on. Yeah, no, the reason I asked earlier about raspberry nonsense is that I found this in the shops the other day, and it a very strange colour. Very strange taste as well. I don't think I'll be buying another bottle. As for Bailey's, I can highly recommend Cool Swan as an alternative. It's Bailey's by the bloke who originally came up with the idea of Bailey's for IDV, but done proper like, and it's rather good. So what do we need? We need that switch. I think we could probably fit that now, and the crystal. So we're almost down to the IC sockets. Crystal should have gone on before the load caps. Whoops. Switch. I see we've just had the 11 o'clock ad break, so I shall try and hurry this up. But there's probably, I don't know, 20 minutes work or so left. So if people would rather disappear, then I won't be offended. It is getting rather late after all. The garage Wi-Fi, fancy Majenko. Okay, that's the end of the cup of tea. So what do we have left? We have those headers, that header, those caps. So it's got to be the IC sockets next as the next tallest part. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I'm just making sure I can read the part numbers through the sockets before I fit these. Okay, that's squashed up to the end there. Okay, that's fine. Okie doke. So I'll do the usual tacking down of the corners. Four, and then the fifth over here. Hot Rocks, good to see you. How are you doing? Where are we at? So, still on the... oh, we've moved on to Mentos and soda stream based drinks, have we? Okay. Right, so we'll just try and zip along all of these sockets nice and quickly. Oops. Okay, that's a solder bridge. That's going to be useful. I'll have to come back and check that in a minute. Yeah, changing the recipes on these artificial sweeteners is definitely a thing. I remember when Coke Zero and the other Zero sort of drinks first came out, I had to swear off them completely because I mean the first time I had one, and then half an hour later was found myself sprinting down the corridor to get to the smallest room at work. I mean, that could have been coincidence. The second time was suspicious, and the third time put it beyond all doubt. So, yeah, I just stopped. Didn't have any of those for years, and then for some reason tried one again, and it was fine. So they obviously changed something from the original formulation on that. But yeah, the first attempt was not good for me. Okay, fair enough, Majenko. Not the stationary cupboard. That would have been an unpleasant surprise next time whether anybody ambled in there. Although technically a cupboard isn't a room. It's a cupboard. Okay, let's see how we got on with that. It's all looking good. So we have headers, two caps. So let's put this header. Does that belong there? Okay, this one's going to be fun to keep upright. And what I should have done before that was check Pratt. Oh well. I'll have to do this the hard way now because I'm an idiot. No. In Muppetitis again, yes indeed, Majenko. I didn't check that this single inline header, for some reason I was thinking of I was thinking of the long side of this header, not the short side that actually goes into the board. So I should have fitted this one first. In fact, I probably fitted this before I fitted the IC sockets, but never mind. It's in there and lined up. Be quiet. In there and lined up properly now, so or angled properly. So I'll just double check this one. Okay, how are we doing for time? 1/4 past. Right, and then we got to do all of these. But Janko, it's understandable eating nothing but bacon for the rest of your life. The question is whether eating nothing but bacon will shorten the rest of your life significantly. Might I suggest the occasional BLT? I mean, personally, I go with a BL. The T is tomatoes are just evil incarnate, frankly, but the concept of a BLT is certainly a fine one. Stop wobbling. How can I stop you wobbling? Ooh, chicken pie. Yes, I could definitely have gone for chicken pie. I ended up just having mussels and a baguette because they needed eating today. So they got eaten today. The mussels, that is. The baguette was lasts about 5 minutes once you get it back home from the bakery, so you know. It's not likely to be found lurking in the depths of the fridge. Big old solar bridge there, that's annoying. I dare not discuss the state of my fridge, Chloe. It's in desperate need of cleaning out. It's got far too much rubbish lurking somewhere in the back. You may be spotting a theme here. And then these extended headers, that's only 10 pins. Yeah, I really should have done this before the sill header. There we go. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Ooh, that sucks, RHK. Really sorry to hear that. Let me just... Yes, these were the only 2x10s in there, so... Check those all square. They are good. Hang on. Cob doesn't go with correct rig. Oh, gold. Right. More fart trucks. Excellent. Hot Rocks. I think Twitch has taken exception to that one. I presume it's a reference, but I think I might err on the side of caution, not let that one through in case it earns me some sort of telling off from Bezos Incorporated. Sorry about that. I don't mind letting it through when it says it's profanity, but when it, yeah, there are other categories that it can complain about, which are probably less easily ignored. Yeah, popular folk song. Okay, fair enough. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll let it through and then we'll see. If Twitch come after me, I'll know who to blame. What's going wrong here? I think actually my soldering iron tip might be loose in the thingy. which is not ideal, but we press on. Come on, why is this not making good contact with the pads? Right, how's... This is going to annoy me in a second. Cobb wanted to see me annoyed earlier, didn't he? So if he's not about, he'll have to watch the VOD. Well, tell you what, maybe the pins are sinking the heat away. What can I do about that? Not much at the moment. Let's have a look. It's not looking quite as bad as I thought, but what's my phone on about now? 1 second, got to clean that solder bridge. Go and see what's going on here. Okay, I was just mastered on. Okay. Whew. Okay, I think the answer here, folks, is that I have 22 joints left to make, and hopefully it won't take very long. And sorry, it's me going pling pling with Janko. It was someone replying to something I said on Fediverse yesterday. Yeah, these Strange, I don't know why these are giving me so much trouble actually. Like I said, I think I might have to switch to a different tip for the rest of these streams, because I mean it's a chisel shape, which is what I usually use. Well, not chisel, wedge shape, but it's struggling with some of the tiny pads on this. They're you know, they're sort of just plain annular ring pads rather than elongated for hand soldering. So you sort of got to make contact with the edge of it and hope for the best, and it is not behaving itself on these headers. But we are finally done with the headers at last. He says before he checks his work. Like an idiot. Not amazingly good, but it'll do. And lead free. Yeah, I think actually this is. This is 6038-2, which is I ordered thinking it was eutactic, and it's not eutactic. In point, is it 0.05? Yeah, 0.05. No, 0.5. 0.5. Come on, Braid. It's not that late. But yeah, the only reason I stick with that is because the soldable enamel wire stuff I use for System 1 is unpleasant enough to deal with at the best of times. I don't need to make my life any harder. So that one is there, and this one is therefore here. And that should be all done by the ICs. So God, it's gone half past. Whew. And the other legs of those two. Oh, come on. There we go. Always fun, Chloe. May they have every success and then lose it on the next corner. Like a Wally. Okay, there we go. That's the board done. Just need to fit some ICs to it. So let's find the list. An RC2014. This will definitely need the light. There's an HCT04. Where does this go? It's presumably the driver for the crystal. It is. I'm guessing this is using the same, is it the Pierce oscillator design? Same one I use on System 1 anyway. Works quite nicely for the sort of speeds these are running at. A double O, HCT double O. Well, these are all HCT parts. Oh, it makes sense they would be, yeah, if it's got a Z80 and other vintage stuff going on. HCT double O. Although, on the other hand, surely all the inputs on this board are coming from the board itself. But anyway, 393. Yeah, that's fair. Hot rocks for lead for stuff where I'm using paste. It'll generally be lead free. Yeah, no point making life awkward for the hell of it. And lead free paste appears to be a lot easier to come by. 7474. But I tend to only use paste where I've got stencils, obviously. I did try building the keyboard for System 1 using hand pasting. And to be fair, the pasting worked quite well. Everything soldered down nicely. The only problem was the board took on the shape of a banana after I hit it with hot air so much. So that was annoying. Why is that sitting a bit proud in its socket? Well, it's making contact, I'll worry about that later. And an HCT02. 02, there we go. And we'll install the two jumpers. So what we have clock speed selection of 7.3728 and then halving, so 36864, 24576, 12288, 0.9216, 0.6144 or 0.3072. And slow, man and X'd. Well, we don't have any of those sources installed, so let's just jumper this for full speed on both sides for the time being. And then if we need to slow one side down, we know how to do it. Clock 2 presumably drives the second serial port or something. So that you can run it at less than, is it 115, 200 by default, something like that. Okay, so there we go. There is the second board. All done. Dual clock module. Reset switch. Fancy. Bit one. So let's pop it in there. Find a space for it on the back plane. It will probably be one of these red ones. 1 second, folks. I think that one's red, right? And that one? You can't see the other one I'm pointing at. So there and there, I think, are red. Yes and yes. Excellent. So let's put it... Well, next to the CPU card would seem to be sensible, wouldn't it? Have I made a fairly serious error? No, I cannot have made an error because there are simply not enough holes on the board for me to have made an error. I think yeah, there's a leftover hole at the bottom of each socket because they're 40 pin sockets on the board and 39 pins on the backplane. So anyway, there we go. We have our first two modules. Let's plug it in and see if any smoke comes out. But we won't get anything other than no smoke in theory, so it will at least check whether it's shorted. Yeah, we have a power light and we have no smoke. Reset. 2 reset buttons, very fancy. Scope the clock. Yeah, go on then, it's only 20 to midnight. Bear with me one moment while I grab the scope. Oops, let's knock that camera all over the shop. That's what we want to do. We need some power. And we need VGA capture. Let's bring up the what's gone on here? Preset. So I need to find the scope on the Extron. I think it's that one. There we go. There we're in segmented acquisition because I was doing stuff with the rainbow yesterday. Segmented off. 1 volt per division. Where can we find I need a ground reference. Oh, hang on, we can do this, can't we? So where are the power lines? Ground and 5 volts. So ground will be there. And then the clock output will be on M1 reset clock 3 down from 5 volts, which is 1, 2 there, I think. Measurement source was 7.38 megahertz. There we go. We have a clock. It's alive, it is. Let's see if it's doing anything on the address bus, which it might be if it's free running, which will be that pin there, I think. Oh, yeah. So it's running at about, well, 920 kilo instructions per second, I presume. If no, double that, obviously. Because it will just be free running by incrementing the... So we should see... Why is that so unstable? There we go. So we should see these going down in powers of 2 as we work our way up the address bus. Because there's no memory there, so it's just getting 0 and doing nothing about it. No trick. What's gone wrong there? Aha. Yeah, I'm happy with that. The CPU appears to be alive, the clock's alive. So it took a bit longer than expected, by about 45 minutes, and I was 10 minutes late starting anyway because OBS. Anyway. Thank you all for joining me for this. We'll do more of it this evening next week, hopefully a bit earlier. We'll move on to ROM and RAM. Seems like a good idea. We could do with those. Of the base system, we need ROM. We need these two: ROM, RAM, and the serial port. Those are the 3 modules we need before we can actually fire it up and see something. So we'll do 2 of those next week. This Friday I'll be on from 6 o'clock BST as usual. It'll be another System 1 stream on Friday. I will demonstrate it actually running code this time now that I've got it running. We'll have a look at Forth a bit, play around with that, and then I am hoping to build an adapter to plug the keyboard into the thing, so we can have a go at writing some basic device driver for the keyboard in Forth. So yeah, that'll be Friday. We'll see how that goes. Plans to port Forth. There are probably much better implementations than the one I've got anyway. Jones Forth is very nice as an example of how to write a Forth, but it's not by any means a comprehensive Forth or particularly standards compliant. There are some ways in which it deviates from standard Forth. So I might just find someone else's Forth for CPM to run on this, which will be fun. Various other things I want to have a look at with this, which we'll get to once the machine's up and running. But yeah, I think that's it from me, so thank you all for joining me. Thank you everybody who has followed or cheered today. Most appreciated. And I shall catch you all on Friday. Oh, and don't forget more Majenko on Thursday, I believe it is. Yes, usually Thursday. More MFM emulator stuff, I presume, Majenko, but maybe you'll come up with some random piece of extremely rusty laptop to look at instead. But anyway, so catch Majenko on Thursday, me on Friday, and I'll see you all next time. And thank you for the cheer, Majenko.
Majenko Tech cheered with 100 bits. Woo!
Yes, indeed. That was worth waiting for the TTS. Right. Chisel.